And that's not selfish, because when you think about that, like, you got to have your body, you got to have you in order for you to take care of others. If you're not taking care of you, you can't take care of others. Because one day your body is saying, I can't take this anymore. So that's why allowing yourself to take care of your physical body, have some me time, in order for you to recharge your batteries. And that is required for you to be able to do the work you came here to do. So I get that very much. Like, I have had challenges as well to set the boundaries. Like, okay, these days I'm not. If somebody asks, can I just see you, or I have this burning question to say, like, okay, the next available time is on Sunday, or whenever that is. Like, allowing myself also to have some space to take care of me.
Right. Yes, that's very true. So, do you read? Do you like to read as well? I'm sure you were reading a lot when you were in school, but do you have a favorite author?
I do read a lot, and definitely when I was at school, I read like so many books that I'm like now thinking, how did I manage to do that? 'Cause but you do when you have this have a goal. And favorite author, I have many, but I do read a lot from John Roger. I actually just now have one of his books on my desk, so that kind of jumped from there, and that's called Journey of the Soul, and that's been very inspirational book for me to read and gain understanding.
Ooh, that does sound like a very good book. Nice.
It's actually not a thick book. It's a very thin book, which is easy to read, but it's very, very, very insightful. And I have used that as a reference book for many times to gain deeper level of understanding.
Ah, nice. Yeah, it's nice to have a go-to book like that, isn't it?
It absolutely is. And another thing I use as well are quotes. Like, I just love affirmations. I love like quotes from authors, and Marianne Williamson quote.
Right.
Some of her quotes very much resonate with me. And those are like those ones who don't like to read books, so you can find your inspiring quote or affirmation too.
Right, yes, that's very true. That's a really good point, because there are people that maybe they can't fit reading a book into their schedule or something, which I can't imagine, but there are people like that. Or they just don't find reading pleasurable. You know,
exactly.
Right, so
and
quotes are
that.
good go-to.
And I get that, because sometimes it's like, because we are living in a world where we are always on doing. Like, I got to be productive, I got to do this, do that. And then taking time to read a book, it might sometimes feel like, I can do so many other things on that time. Mm-hmm. But then it can be really relaxing as well to dive into a book and allowing yourself to have that experience. But for those, and I know a lot of people nowadays listen also audiobooks, which is a great way if you have a commute. You can tune in and have an audiobook experience.
Right. So there's so many ways to glean knowledge these days that when we were little, we didn't have all these different forms of media. I'll tell you, and it sounds so silly, but my boys used to be on YouTube, they'd go look at stuff on YouTube, and I didn't quite comprehend the whole premise of YouTube. And I'll tell you, YouTube has taken the place of my dad helping me learn how to fix things.
Yeah, I get that, because that's also sometimes we nowadays get into the feeling of overwhelm, because we have so much information and so many ways to get that information, and sometimes we are like, whoa, I just need a break. And that's the moment when I'll go to the walk on the mountain, because there is no cell phone coverage most of the time, so I need a break sometimes from everything.
Right. And I'll tell you, books for me are a very good escape too. And gosh, I'll find something that I want to learn about, like epigenetics, for example. Now that subject used to be only in science magazines and science books, and now it's everywhere. Hey, so you can pretty much find anything that you want to learn about in a book. All you have to do is Google the subject, and you'll get zillions of books.
And that's amazing. Like nowadays, we just Google it, and you find everything you need to know about that topic. And that's amazing thing. And also, it's like all the internet connections that has brought so much like availability. Like you can also watch Facebook Live from one of these maybe inspiring people for you. You can watch the Facebook Lives. You have so much ways to communicate more.
Right.
And one of the things though that I help also light workers with is then how do you stand out, because there is so much things going on. And that's one of the aspects I support them with, like how to be true to your calling and how to share your message authentically, so that even though there is so much noise happening, that those people who need to hear your message, that they can find it.
Yes, and that's true. It's a big C now. It didn't used to be like that, and it is now. But the cool thing is that you said earlier, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And I really believe that 17 people, I don't know why he said that number, but 17 people could say the same thing in their own way, and it would resonate with 17 different people.
Absolutely. I fully agree on that. And that's the way that that's why I'm like, okay, I resonate with most of the light workers who come to me. It's kind of like a code, like light worker, and then I know the people who I mostly resonate with. And also one of the things there is that in order for those 17 people in this case resonate, you got to put your message out there too. They need to hear it somewhere in order for them to say yes to you and your way to express your calling.
Right. So, yep, you can't just wait for people to come to you if you're not saying anything. So that can
happen.
It does, and it does happen. But it's if the more people that you touch with your message, the more people are going to talk about you, and talk about you to other people, which is the best kind of client to get is a referral business client.
Absolutely. And one of the things, like, this is like spirituality is full of paradox. Like, we need to wait for the divine timing, but then also there is a saying, spirit meets you in action. So you actually need to put the wheel on motion, take action in order for you to get the spirit support on the work you do.
Right.
So I'm always like saying, I'm speaking a lot of paradox here, but that's because there is multi-dimensional world. Like, right. Yes, And this is true, and this is true too.
So one of the things that I always say at the end of the Devolution show is know who you are and what you believe. Do you think that that's important, and why?
It is, because there is I don't know if it was Socrates or a wise man said, know the self. And that helps so much. Of course, there are always layers, and that can be a trap as well, that you can always keep peeling the layers and new things appear. But having the awareness of who you are and having the observation of your thoughts, of your actions, of your emotions, so that you are aware of them. And that helps you to know who you are, and also having the openness and willingness to answer to the calling that is already there in your heart. It's just to allow it to come forward. Because if we haven't listened to small voice within, it might take for a while to get it louder that you can hear it. But if you start asking questions like, what is my calling, you will one day get the answer. And it is important to get to the core of your message, because I always tell people who I mentor, is know your big why, because that is the thing that keeps you going. When there are the ups and downs in life and this level, but then if you know and are connected with your big why, that is the thing that keeps you going. And that is the vision. That is the saying, starting with the end in mind. That is the vision that is okay, I know my direction. I know what way I'm going. It just brings so much ease into the life.
Right. Thank you. That was beautifully said. Very nicely said. So what else would you like to tell us about you or about what you do or anything that I haven't asked you yet?
Oh, wow. What else? Well, people can contact me. I always have openness to mentor more people if they feel truly that they want to take their message forward, they want to share their message with more people. I'd love to be there for them. And I have a Facebook community that you didn't mention. That's kind of the first step. If somebody's interested, of course they can check my Facebook page, but if they feel that they are light workers, I'd love to invite them to my Facebook community that is called Light Workers Who Succeed on Purpose. So they are welcome there, and that community is to bring like-minded people together and also share resources, share insights and inspiration, because sometimes it can be a lonely path to walk forward on the path to purpose. It doesn't need to be, but sometimes it might feel lonely, especially if you are shifting from something where you used to be and then you are kind of starting a new journey. So just that you know that there are like-minded people who love to support you, and we welcome you and we celebrate you on your path to purpose.
I really like that community because in some communities that I belong to, if you ask a question, maybe one or two people will answer. But on your Facebook page, on your community page, there's 9, 12, 15 answers on questions, and I really like when people participate like that. I
love that too, and it's such a joy to read always. I am very active